हेलो दोस्तों, बिगिनर्स माइंड में आपका स्वागत है और अभी हम कर रहे हैं करंट अफेयर्स। इंडिया रशिया रीअफर्म एक्सपेंशन ऑफ बायलैटरल ट्रेड इन बैलेंस्ड एंड सस्टेनेबल मैनर। External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov reviewed the entire gamut of India-Russia bilateral relations during their meeting in Moscow today. In a joint press briefing after the talks, Dr. Jaishankar highlighted that relations between India and Russia have been among the steadiest of the major relationships of the world after the Second World War. He added that geopolitical convergence, leadership contacts, and popular sentiments remain the key drivers of India-Russia partnership. Both ministers reaffirmed shared ambition to expand bilateral trade in a balanced and sustainable manner, including by increasing India's exports to Russia. Both ministers also spoke about connectivity initiatives, including the International North-South Transport Corridor, the Chennai Vladivostok Eastern Maritime Corridor, and cooperation in the Northern Sea Route. Dr. Jaishankar remarked that these corridors promise to deepen economic linkages, reduce transit times, and expand trade access across Eurasia and beyond. He stated that defense and military technical cooperation also remains robust and Russia supports India's Make in India goals, including joint production and technology transfer. The External Affairs Minister emphasized that the opening of two new Indian consulates in Kazan and Yekaterinburg needs to be fast-tracked. He said the issue of Indians serving in the Russian army was also taken up. He hoped that the Russian side expeditiously resolves these matters on global and multilateral cooperation. Dr. Jaishankar said both sides reaffirmed shared commitment to reform of global governance. Both sides underlined the imperative to expand and energize the UN Security Council to reflect contemporary realities. The External Affairs Minister said they discussed developments in Ukraine, West Asia, Afghanistan, and stated that India's approach continues to emphasize dialogue and diplomacy as essential to resolving differences. On terrorism, both sides resolved to fight jointly against all forms and manifestations of terrorism. The External Affairs Minister conveyed India's strong resolve to adopt zero tolerance policy against terrorism and India's sovereign right to defend its citizens against terrorism. Replying to media queries, Dr. Jaishankar stressed that India is not the biggest purchaser of Russian oil and not the biggest purchaser of Russian LNG. He highlighted that India is also not the country which had the biggest trade surge with Russia after 2022. He pointed out that India also buys oil from US and that amount is increasing. First test flight of Gaganyaan in December this year, says ISRO. ISRO chairman V. Narayan today said that India's maiden manned space mission Gaganyaan will conduct its first test flight in December this year. Addressing a press conference in New Delhi, Professor Narayan said that Gaganyaan is progressing well, has 80% tests or around 7,700 tests have been conducted so far. He added that the remaining 2,300 tests will be completed by March next year. Highlighting other achievements of ISRO, Professor Narayan said that 196 accomplishments have been achieved so far this year, including GLEX 2025 and a high thrust electric propulsion system. He noted that a 6,500 kilogram communication satellite of USA will be launched from Indian launch pad. He further highlighted that 13 terabytes of data from Aditya L1 has been provided to the scientific community through this year. Talking about ISRO's role in Axiom 4 mission, the space chief mentioned that ISRO's technical expertise played crucial role in ensuring safe launch of the mission. He noted that ISRO corrected the LOX leakage observed in the first stage of Falcon 9 rocket, avoiding catastrophic failure. PM Modi discusses peace efforts in Ukraine and West Asia with French President telephonically. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today had a telephonic conversation with French President Emmanuel Macron. In a statement of the Prime Minister's office, both the leaders exchanged views on the ongoing efforts for peaceful resolution of conflicts in Ukraine and the West Asia region. It said that Prime Minister Modi reiterated India's consistent support for peaceful resolution of the conflicts and early restoration of peace and stability. It added that the leaders also reviewed progress in the bilateral cooperation agenda, including in the areas of trade, defense, civil nuclear cooperation, technology, and energy. It further said President Macron also conveyed support for early conclusion of the free trade agreement between India and the EU. Monsoon session of Parliament concludes session fruitful, says Union Minister Kiran Rijiju. The Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha have been adjourned sine die today. With this, monsoon session of Parliament, which began on 21st of last month, concluded. Briefing media at the Parliament House after completion of the session in New Delhi today. Union Minister of Parliamentary Affairs Kiran Rijiju has said that the monsoon session of Parliament was extremely fruitful for the country and the government. Mr. Rijiju said, but many new MPs were not allowed to speak in parliament and the opposition itself is responsible for this. He criticized the opposition saying they disrupted the house a lot and did not participate in the scheduled time for discussion. The minister expressed displeasure that the opposition did not allow members to congratulate Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla, the first Indian to visit the International Space Station. He said protesting or disagreeing is a democratic way to express your views, but obstructing and stopping the government from working in parliament is under undemocratic. Election Commission appoints two observers for upcoming vice president elections. The Election Commission has appointed two observers for the upcoming vice presidential election 2025. Additional Secretary of Minister of Panchayati Raj Sushil Kumar Lohini and Additional Secretary of Ministry of Finance D. Anandan have been appointed as observers. The vice presidential election will be held on the 9th of the next month. The election has been necessitated due to the resignation of Jagdeep Dhankar, who tendered his resignation last month, citing health reasons. This will be 17th vice presidential election. The vice president is elected by an electoral college, which consists of the members of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. NDA has chosen CP Radhakrishnan as a vice presidential candidate while the opposition India bloc has fielded former Supreme Court Judge B. Sudarshan Reddy for the vice presidential election. Government succeeds in promoting biofuels as alternative to petroleum products. Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Puri today said government has achieved remarkable progress in promoting biofuels as a sustainable alternative to petroleum products. In a written reply in Lok Sabha today, Mr. Puri said the promotion of use of biofuels has been undertaken through the National Policy on Biofuels. Government has been promoting the blending of ethanol in petrol under the Ethanol Blended Petrol (EBP) program with multiple objectives. The minister said the EBP program has resulted in expeditious payment to farmers of more than 1,25,000 crores from ethanol supply year 2014-2015 up to July this year, besides savings of more than 1,44,000 crores of foreign exchange. Under the EBP program, public sector oil marketing companies achieved the target of 10% ethanol blending in petrol in June 2022. 5 months ahead of target, the blending levels further increased to 12.06% in 2022-23, 14.6% in 2023-24, and 19.05% has on 31st July this year. During July alone, ethanol blending on of 19.93% was achieved. Supreme Court stray dogs to return to territory after sterilization and immunization. The Supreme Court modified its earlier directions for the capture and complete relocation of stray dogs in the Delhi NCR region. In a fresh order, the three-judge bench of Justice Vikram Nath, Sandeep Mehta, and N.V. Anjaria directed that stray dogs picked up must be released in their territory after sterilization and immunization, except those infected with rabies or exhibiting aggressive behavior. Justice Nath-led bench emphasized the creation of dedicated feeding spaces for stray dogs while restricting public feeding, expanding the scope of proceedings beyond Delhi NCR. The apex court impelled all union territories and state governments for the creation of a pan-India policy on stray dogs and proposed transferring to itself similar petitions pending in various high courts. The bench did not alter its earlier direction that any organization or group obstructing the removal of stray dogs would face strict legal action. Earlier, a division bench had directed municipal bodies across Delhi NCR to immediately capture all stray dogs and relocate them to shelters. PM Modi condoles demise of NRI industrialist and philanthropist Swaraj Paul. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has condoled का मतलब क्या होता है संवेदन व्यक्त करना the demise of NRI industrialist and philanthropist Swaraj Paul. In a social media post, Mr. Prime Minister said that the contribution of Paul to industry, philanthropy, and public service in the UK, and his unwavering support for closer ties with India will always be remembered. The Prime Minister also recalled their interactions. NDA MPs facilitate Vice Presidential candidate CP Radhakrishnan in New Delhi ahead of election. NDA MPs today met and facilitated Vice Presidential candidate CP Radhakrishnan in New Delhi. Union Minister Prahlad Joshi, Manohar Lal, Arjun Ram Meghwal, Harsh Malhotra and MPs from Delhi, Haryana and Rajasthan extended their best practices to Radhakrishnan ahead of the Vice Presidential election. The Vice Presidential election will be held on the 9th of next month. The scrutiny of the nominations will take place. Today, the election has been necessitated due to the resignation of Jagdeep Dhankar, who tendered his resignation last month, citing health reasons. This will be the 17th Vice Presidential election. The Vice President is elected by an electoral college which consists of the members of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Parliament passes five key maritime bills to boost blue economy. Union Minister Sarbananda Sonbal. Union Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways Sarbananda Sonwal today said that the Parliament has passed five key bills in the just concluded monsoon session, which overhauled colonial-era maritime laws will boost the blue economy. The new bills are the Bills of Landing 2025, the Carriage of Goods by Sea Bill 2025, the Coastal Shipping Bill 2025, the Merchant Shipping Bill 2025, and Indian Ports Bill 2025. The Bills of Landing 2025 focuses on simplifying legal documents to reduce disputes and improve to ease of doing business. The Carriage of Goods by Sea Bill 2025 replaced a 1925 Act, adopting Hogg-Visby rules for reduced litigation and stronger international ties. The Coastal Shipping Bill 2025 targets reviving India's 6% model share, saving around rupees 10,000 crore annually in logistic cost, and also reducing pollution and road congestion. The Merchant Shipping Bill 2025 overhauled an outdated 1958 Act, enabling expeditious wreck removal and salvage operations, the minister further said. The Indian Ports Bill 2025 replaced an old 1908 law, created a Maritime State Development Council for better national planning, gave more power to state maritime boards to manage smaller ports, and set up a way to resolve disputes at the state level. NCH facilitates 2.7 crore in refunds, addressed 7,256 grievances across 27 sectors in July 2025. The National Consumer Helpline (NCH) successfully facilitated refunds amounting to 2.72 crore in July 2022-2025, addressing 7,256 consumer grievances across 27 sectors. NCH acts as a unified platform bringing together consumers, government agencies, private sector companies, and regulatory bodies. The e-commerce sector recorded the highest volume of refund-related grievances with 3,594 cases, resulting in refunds worth 1,034 crore. This was followed by the travel and tourism sector, which accounted for refunds of 31 lakh. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh highlights India's support for women in UN peacekeeping missions. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has said that India has been a stronger supporter of women's participation and integration into UN peacekeeping missions. Mr. Singh said this while interacting with the women military officers of the United Nations in New Delhi today. He said that the government is also strengthening its policy to encourage women's participation in the country's armed forces and peacekeeping contingents, ensuring they have equal opportunity to lead and serve. He said India will continue to work with the United Nations and troop contributing countries to advance gender parity and world peace. The minister said that the presence of officers from 15 countries across the globe in New Delhi today reflects the microcosm of the United Nations and its enduring spirit of unity and cooperation. PM Modi alleges RJD Congress support intruders for vote bank, announces demography mission in Bihar. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today alleged that the RJD and Congress are supporting intruders for vote bank and appeasement politics. Addressing a public meeting at Magad University ground in Bodh Gaya, Mr. Modi said these intruders are responsible for stealing the employment of people of Bihar and changing the demography. The Prime Minister said the rising number of intruders is a matter of grave concern, especially in frontier districts. Mr. Modi said that in view of this, government is going to launch a demographic mission which will help to weed out intruders. The Prime Minister sharply criticized the RJD, Congress, left and other opposition for opposing the anti-corruption bill, which has provision to remove the Prime Minister, Chief Minister, and ministers from office it if found guilty of corruption charges and remain jailed for more than 30 days. Mr. Modi said RJD and Congress leaders are feared because several of them are on bail in corruption cases. He said if the bill is passed, the dreams of these corrupt will be shattered. The Prime Minister also mentioned the resolution against enemies of the country, which was taken in Bihar and executed as Operation Sindoor. He said the Operation Sindoor has drawn a new line of the country's defense policy. Earlier, the Prime Minister inaugurated and laid the foundation stone for various development works and projects worth 13,000 crore rupees, which include a 6-lane bridge over the Ganga, a 660 megawatt power plant, and STP and road projects. Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla calls on President Draupadi Murmu share space mission experiences. Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla today called on President Draupadi Murmu at Rashtrapati Bhavan. Group Captain Subhanshu Shukla shared his experiences in space with the President. Group Captain Prasanath Balakrishnan Nair and Group Captain Punya Shlok Beswal, along with Chairman ISRO and Secretary Department of Space Dr. V. Nayan and Director Human Space Flight Center Dinesh Kumar Singh were also present on the occasion. The President extended her best wishes to the entire team for future endeavors, especially for the Gaganyaan mission. PM Modi says OP Sindoor drawn new line in India's defense strategy. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today said that Operation Sindoor has drawn a new line in India's defense strategy. Mr. Modi said that no one can escape after sending terrorists in India or planning attacks. He said that even if terrorists hide in the depth of the earth, India's missiles will bury them there. Prime Minister said this after laying the foundation stone and inaugurating the multiple development projects worth 12,000 crore rupees at Gaya in Bihar today. The projects belong to multiple sectors including power, road, health, urban development and water supply. Mr. Modi also flagged off Amrit Bharat Express train between Gaya and Delhi and Buddhist circuit train between Vaishali and Kordama, which will give a boost to tourism and religious travel across key Buddhist sites in the region. Prime Minister Modi remarked that the rising number of infiltrators in the country is a matter of grave concern. He highlighted that the demographic profile of Bihar's border districts is changing rapidly and affirmed that their government has resolved not to let infiltrators decide the future of the nation. He stressed that infiltrators, infl- infiltrators will not be allowed to snatch employment opportunities from Bihar youth. Prime Minister said that rapid development of Bihar is a major priority for the NDA government at the center. He said the projects launched in Bihar today will strengthen Bihar's industries and create new employment opportunities for the youth. Mr. Modi highlighted that in the past 11 years, over 4 crore poor families have been provided with permanent houses across the country and 38 lakh houses have been constructed in Bihar. He said that the NDA's double engine government is working rapidly on the development of railways in Bihar. He said under the Amrit Bharat station scheme, Gaya railway station is being modernized and providing passengers with एयरपोर्ट लाइक फैसिलिटीज। और इसी के साथ करंट अफेयर्स हो जाती है समाप्त।